I hope that made sense.
Yeah, so we can relate this. Do you know who Jordan B. Peterson is? Do you know?
No, I do
Oh,
not.
I think you
So
should
just
research more about him because it's related to psychology, and he's the best. He's the best in psychology subject. Yeah, you can research
mm,
about him. It's Jordan B. Peterson.
thank you. I
Um,
will put that out.
by the way, we're also interested to know, Clear, when you were still in Raffles, specifically secondary 3 to 4, like what or which subject combination you choose? Is it
Um,
is it all three sciences or just physics, chemistry with business or econs or just one physics and with business and economics?
well, back then in grade 9, I did not have economics. That's one. I kind of just took all the subjects, I think, until grade. Well, I guess I dropped chemistry because I don't understand it. I'm so sorry to the chemistry people out there. I did not understand chemistry at all. So I had physics and bio. And then I remember I took physics, bio, business. Um it was just business back then. There was no econs. And then yeah, but in JC, this is where I think I took the combination thing where it's like I took economics, biology, physics, and math. Yes, those are the four subjects that I took in JC. But for IGCSE, it's those with I guess math, Chinese, English, Bahasa, ICT. I think those are the ones. Yeah. So yeah.
All right, all right. By the way, talking about IGCSE, like, do you have any advice for anyone watching this podcast or listening to this podcast? Like, any study tips, techniques that you can share?
Okay. So this is something that I really think people should spend time on. And it's figuring out how you study best. Because the thing is, you can hear the same techniques again and again. And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. There is no point in trying to, especially like, I don't know if they still do this, but we had this visual, auditory, or kinesthetic learner. And it's like, some people will say, oh, that's not true and stuff like that. But of course, it's like, it kind of helps in a way. It kind of helps with in digesting different types of information. If you learn better in terms of like visual learner, because I'm a visual learner, I think sometimes, and it's bio, draw your diagrams, draw your mind maps, and then it really helps you when you're trying to like memorize stuff like that. And um and I guess in general, besides that, it's sort of like, again, manage your time. You don't want to be left with 1 week, and then this is just for IGCSE. And a lot of people, they'll be saying to you, IGCSE is nothing compared to A levels. It is slightly true. Don't want to scare you, but it is slightly true. But again, I don't um you should also worry about IGCSE because in some aspect it is important. So just my study tip in general, whether this be for A level or IGCSE or Cambridge checkpoint or anything, it's manage your time. You don't want to be left with 1 week and then you're studying from that 1 week, especially for A levels. You have to start months before, and how we are encouraged to do it and how I did it, which really helps, do past papers, like so much of it. This is something that I kept hearing from our physics teacher, Mr. Lakshman, and Mr. Yash, our econs teacher. They are always saying that. Do past papers again and again and again. There is this link, it's called GCE Guide. You bookmark that on your laptop, and every day just go there, even if it takes you a while to finish a paper for like at first, don't worry about it. It's progress. Just keep going at it, look at it again, and then if you have a question, your teachers are there, the answer key is there. I'm not saying go cheat, but like, you want to keep doing that. You want to maintain and be consistent because that's kind of what's important. You want to be consistent. Do a paper. I'm not gonna say do a paper every day because that's sometimes it's unrealistic. If that is realistic for you, then go ahead, do it. But like, do at least 5 papers a week, let's say. Just keep doing it. You have different subjects. Make sure that you give the same amount of attention to your subjects, or like not the same, sorry, but like a rather like equal amount of attention. Is that the word? Yeah. For all your subjects. If you are struggling in math, for example, but you are like acing biology, then you might want to give a little more attention to math, right? You don't want to be spending all your time on bio. I like bio and I'm good at it. And like, of course, you're great at it. That's amazing. Practice it, but go back to that math because you're going to keep needing it. And you're just keep doing that. Just keep being consistent. Papers, 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 papers. That is what they always did. And I truly wish that in university they gave us past papers. They do have mock tests, but if we had past papers, that would be like amazing to just look at because the amount of practice that you get from that, the way you can understand the questions that they give you, you see a pattern after a while and you're kind of like, oh, all right, okay, I know what I kind of know like what they might give maybe and stuff like that. And above all, I guess this is just for the exam aspect. I don't know. I guess it's like also, oh, sorry, this is still studying. Also, remember to give yourself breaks. That goes back to time management. It is not realistic to go to school for like I'm not sure how long, but for like half your day or
Yeah.
most of your day, come home and then like go right back studying. Of course not. Your body needs to breathe and it needs a break at times. Give yourself these little breaks. That is more realistic and it's more efficient in my opinion as compared to pushing yourself until you're burning out. And then when you're burning out, you kind of just that's when you break down and that's when you feel like, oh, I can't do this and you start to panic and then everything feels like it's like going bad and it's not going bad. It's just because you're so tired physically and mentally that you can't like sort of realize like what you're doing anymore and stuff like that. So that's kind of my advice. Just papers, 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 and give yourself breaks at times. Even if it's just like, okay, I'm gonna study for 2 hours and then I'll give myself a 30-minute break. I will maybe like, I don't know, I will just scroll on my phone for a bit or something, 2 hours again. And then don't forget, you need to eat, you need to drink, you need to do human things. Don't punish yourself for that. That is very, that's not healthy at all. And actually, rewarding yourself while you study is a great way to just keep going. Because if you keep doing it and you're like, what am I even doing this for? The exam is like months away. You're gonna lose motivation. That's just gonna happen. You're gonna feel like, why am I preparing for this now? That it doesn't matter. Everyone says IGCSE is nothing compared to A levels. I mean, like I still have time. I still have this. You will procrastinate. So instead, give yourself a reward, maybe like a daily thing, or like this is something that I do. I have this app. It's called Notion. Highly recommend. If you don't have Notion, don't worry about it. It's just a fancy way of doing a to-do list. So every day, this is something I heard in my leadership training. Every day, set a goal for yourself. And it's like whether it's like, okay, today I'm gonna finish this chapter. Okay, and then yeah, that's it. I'm just gonna finish this chapter. That's my goal for today. I'm not saying you should focus on that like for that day only, but that should definitely like you should complete that goal every day. And it really helps. It's like it makes you like feel like, oh, okay, I actually did it. Okay, and then you can tick it off. And it's such a satisfying process when you just go through your day and then you tick more things off and then you're like, okay, I'm actually done with everything now. So yeah, that's what I do. That's what I feel like that's my little reward, being able to tick things off and see everything in like blue on my Notion app. So yeah. But otherwise write it down. It's really easy. Tick it off, scratch it off, something. Goal setting as many times as they repeat it and you might feel like this is nothing. I don't want to set a goal. Why do I need to set a goal and stuff like that? It is actually very important because in a way it reminds you, especially when you keep it up somewhere and you're like, oh, I want to get this many A's in my GCSE. I want to reach this score by this exam. I want to be able to have this grade at the end of something. It just reminds you every day, especially when you put it on your desk. It's like, this is what I want and this is what I'm aiming for. This is what I'm working towards. And it's just like, yeah, that's what I think is helpful. But yeah, so those are my study tips. Past papers, very important. Give yourself breaks. Don't punish yourself, reward yourself. Um, reward yourself. That's very important. Even if it's just like, oh, I'm gonna finish these 5 pages and then I'm gonna eat a chocolate. Great, go for it. Like it's okay. You deserve it. You did it. Like, especially when you do something more than what you usually do. Even if you do, oh sorry, even if you do more than you, yeah, if you do, especially if you do more than you usually do, yeah, then you definitely deserve a reward. I'm not saying that, um, what I'm trying to say is rewards are more than just when you finish the final product. Uh, it's about the process. It is involved in the process. In, eating and just like giving yourself a little space to breathe and stuff like that. Those are rewards too. So it's very important to do all that stuff because again, you're human. You're not just like you're not just a student, you're not a robot who constantly studies. You're human and you need things to like help you, give you that energy to keep studying. So yeah.
Yes, well, that's an awesome perspective. But before we move on, listeners, please take note because these are valuable lessons. Because I'm going to take my notes now and gonna write all what Clear is saying. Okay, but while waiting, Nara, please continue.
Okay, so I'd like to ask, are you still using that technique where you like study and then like give yourself a break, then continue studying?
Yes,
Are you
I
still
do.
doing it now?
Yes, I still do that now. I actually used to not do that when I was in Raffles. I only started doing it like here, I think. It's because like back then, at least in like Raffles, because I come home at like what 4 or 5 p.m. and I don't have the time to sort of be like, okay, let's give ourselves a little break because I just have to like go at it again. And then like I end up being really tired. And then, at the end of the day, it's like at 10 p.m. and then or 11 p.m. And then I'm like, oh, I really want to sleep right now. And I do. I just fall asleep. I sit on my bed. I'm like, I'm gonna read my textbook. I sit on my bed and I melt into my mattress. It is like it is not good. That's why I say give yourself breaks. That's why make sure you have energy to just keep going. Yeah.
That's so good. Okay, so one more question.
So
Where do
good.
you learn those techniques? Like, uh, do you think it like naturally you did it? Like,
Mm. Okay, so well, the thing is they give you like sort of like there are like many workshops in university where you kind of just visit and you can like learn things like how to manage your time efficiently. I've never gone to those workshops. How I learn these things is, I mean, you can go to those workshops, but yeah, how I learn these things and how I learn specific things about myself is actually when I got to uni. And it's sort of like I kind of like I tested things out and like you try and you fail and you realize after a while, oh, this works for me. As well, I'm taking an anatomy class and this is how I learned that I was kind of like a visual learner because I have to see colors and I have to see like mind maps so I can like visualize where each item is on like this paper and like that makes me memorize it better instead of like let's say like a proper list. And sometimes people they like a proper list. It just helps them more. But again, everyone is different and that is something that is probably one of the things that I learned in my leadership trainings. It's everyone does things differently. You will learn differently from me. I will learn differently from you. How I learned these is because just from try and fail, honestly. I go to my classes, I see what it is that I need. I try. I used to take notes on my laptop and it was not efficient. So I started using them on I have paper. I have like 4 stacks of paper here, all color coded and everything for all my classes. And yeah, that's what works for me. It's being able to um see what it is that I need and all that stuff. I know that in Raffles you might not have that amount of time, but the thing is in uni you're not in school for all that time, right? Unless you're taking like a lot of classes. But for me, I go to campus like two times a week and usually it's like for just like short amounts of time. And it's like in those breaks you can do whatever you want. And I guess that's kind of where I realized like, okay, I have the freedom and I have the time now to sort of figure out what I need. If I had to draw diagrams back then in biology for like JC1, JC2, or like, you know, um, IGCSE, I would have told myself it's a waste of time. And I would have told myself, you're just procrastinating. And the thing is, it's not. And I realized that now because it actually really helps. I had like a lab test recently for anatomy, and the fact that I was able, that I've looked at my drawing for so long because I kept going over it again and again, and I'm like, okay, this is like this like that, this is that, this is that, and like I was able to visualize it in my head as I was doing the test, and that helped me like so much. So like that's what I learned, and I was like, oh, what an epiphany! Like I'm actually kind of like a visual learner now. Again, not everyone is not fit into a certain category. I'm not saying like, oh, if drawings help you, you're definitely a visual learner 100%. No, everyone's a mix of like something. And it's not, again, these things change. You change. And it's like you might change now when you're grade 8, and you might change again when you're in grade 11, and you're going to change again when you're in uni. That is just something. This is speaking a little more than study techniques, but like everything with you constantly changes. You are not this constant sort of thing all the time. So yeah, that's, I guess, going back to how your question, how I learned it is just, it's I would say it's more unnatural, and you kind of just try and fail. But again, don't I don't know if it's a good time to spend like a whole week trying to figure out what it is that you're like doing best at. It's kind of just study while you're also exploring that side of yourself, you know? So again, see what about you that you feel like, oh my God, this actually feels good. I don't mind learning it. Sorry, I don't mind learning in this case, then that works for you. That's like how you will like absorb information better, how it helps you better and stuff. And you don't have to feel like you have to compare yourself with someone else, and because like, oh, their notes have like a lot of words, their notes look smarter than mine because mine are drawings and like mind maps and everything. No, absolutely not. Everyone learns in a different way. Everyone will look at information in a different way. And it's just the way you process it, just because it's different, it doesn't mean it's wrong. That's all I will say, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, so it's like a trial and error, yeah. So like
Yeah.
if the first way you fail, so like you gotta look for more ways.
Yeah, I guess so. I would say so. I used to do the laptop thing where I just wrote a list and everything, and it went really horribly. So now, writing your notes, there are some general tips in terms of like, oh, write your notes in your own words and stuff like that. I know it's hard when like you're constantly changing slides, and it's like, oh, I can't think of rephrasing that. So yeah, that one you kind of just copy and paste, and then you review them at the end of the day. You go back to them, and then you're just like, oh, okay, this makes more sense and stuff. Sometimes that happens like way too often, in my opinion, where you copy things from slides all the time. This is why I feel like in lectures, if you can just copy paste, sometimes that's like, especially at 8 a.m., like that's okay. Like keep going for it. It's okay. Because when you review it and then you're like looking at it and you're like, I don't remember writing this. Like, what did we learn in this class? And then it's because like you're so tuned out, or it's just like because you're constantly copy pasting, your brain kind of just feels like it's like an auto isn't sorry, it's like almost like an automatic process and everything. And so it's like, review your notes. That is like something that's also very important. I think that was my mistake when I did the laptop thing. I kind of just read through it and I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. But when you rewrite your notes in terms of in like a way you understand, that's like it's very helpful because it breaks down the information for you without you knowing too. But like, yeah, that's what I would say. When you read your notes, again, this is the trial and error thing, but like, yeah, sorry, an extra tip. I'm diverging here. But an extra tip, when you reread your notes, don't just read them off a page and be like, okay, you want to like stop, think about what it is that you wrote and what you understood from it. And it's sort of just like, oh, okay. And then, mnemonic devices, I don't know if like you've learned that stuff, but it's just that helps me so much, especially in terms of bio. It's like, I think you'll learn more about that later on, but yeah, I don't really know how to explain it. But yeah, mnemonic devices, those are really cool. Trial and error, that's the way, in my opinion. But again, don't spend like a whole week trying to figure out, oh, okay, this doesn't work. If you know for sure that doesn't work, don't even try it. Like, don't even try it. Don't be like, oh, I am going to create an audiobook and then I'm going to write this whole thing down on a Word document and have it like listen to it and figure out if I'm an auditory learner. Don't do that. If you know it's not going to work, don't try that. But if it does work for you, that's great. So again, it's just like figuring out like what it is you already feel like is working for you and sticking with it and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay, so like I'd like to ask your hobby, like maybe is your hobby helpful for you in the way you study? Like do you
Um, sorry, no, go on.
oh like do you read books like about psychology maybe that also helps you on your studies or like your hobbies?
Okay, well, I don't. I like fiction books, as in like fantasy, romance, all that stuff. Things that take me away from reality, from this reality. So that I like. I'm so grateful that I because books are so expensive. I found a place, it's called Book Outlet, and I got this from a writing and psych course. And they sell like books by a much cheaper price. And I'm just like I'm so grateful that I found that site because I have like shelves of books now that I haven't read because of all my courses, but I will get to soon. I don't know if that helps me with my studies, and I'm actually kind of grateful that it doesn't because I feel like that's my again, it's a hobby and I don't want it to interfere in a sense. I don't want to have to do my hobby such as writing or reading or playing games and then be like, "Oh, this is in a way studying because it relates back to my study." Like I don't want that. I'm not interested in that. And again, that's just me. Some people do like reading psychology books. Some people find that it's interesting. Again, um, so this is a little bit of a divergence, but I feel like this is something that my counselor said to me, and it's that you are so much more than a student. School is a small part of you. And it's like, I don't want school to consume my entire life because then what am I? What am I outside of school? For me, I am a reader. I am sort of a writer. I like doing these things, and that's what makes me who I am, you know? And it's just like, I don't want to think about, oh my God, this is what I learned in my course or stuff like that when I'm reading, when I'm doing my hobby, when I'm supposed to be relaxing. I guess that's what I'm supposed. That I guess is what I'm gonna say. So yeah.
Okay, so like if we talk about our future plans here, like may we know what's your future dreams, maybe occupations that you can share with us?
I guess right now it's a psychotherapist. That's pretty much it. I'm working towards that. Um, and anything else, this might sound sort of selfish or greedy, but honestly, for a long time, I just want to be rich. And I know I'm so sorry, but I just want to be rich. I want to be comfortable. That is what I want. And if I can do that by being a psychotherapist, that's great. And that's it. I just want to find this sounds like a very I guess the word for it is lame with quotation marks. I will say with quotation marks. And it's to find peace in life. Um and if I can do that by being rich, that's great because I don't ever have to worry about things, right? But that's one of my goals in life, to be a psychotherapist, to have enough money to be comfortable, be able to be happy without feeling like, you know, the way I felt like back then. And it's sad, it's dark. I am not gonna get into it, but yeah, so yeah, that's it really. So just find peace in a world that's constantly beating you up, in my opinion, or there are where so many things happen and you're always tired. That's what's important in life, I think. And you can do that however you want, you know, whatever your dream is, it's your dream because it makes you happy, right? Because it gives you an idea that, oh, I think I'm going to be comfortable this way. Then yeah, go for it. No one's going to stop you. You have no limitation technically. Almost. I'm not going to say that completely because that might feel a little selfish to say, but in some aspects you don't have a limitation. You don't have limitations. Yeah.